This is In the Parks and Beyond, the podcast where we dive deep into the magical world of Disney, explore the thrills of Universal, and venture beyond the parks. Join us for insider tips, expert insights, and world-class recommendations on the best rides, shows, and hidden gems. We'll take you on culinary journeys with top food picks and share exciting adventures from destinations around the world. So, pull your lap bars down and head into the parks with us as we embark on this roller coaster we call life.
Welcome back to In the Parks and Beyond. I'm Josh.
I am Jerry, and today is Epic Universe Day.
And
We are, day of recording this, we are T-minus 10 days until it opens.
we have all had a preview day already.
Yes, we have. Josh, how you feeling?
I mean, my preview day, I went on the very first preview day and my day was flawless. However, I have heard recently that some people's days haven't gone quite to plan. How about
Sure.
you, Jerry?
For the most part, our day was pretty good. There's a few things that weren't open, but again, hence technical rehearsal wasn't bent out of shape for the most part. We got on pretty much the big ticket items. We got on, Battle of the Ministry, Monsters Unchained, Stardust Racers, things like that. So we were able to get on all those. I know some folks are not so much right now. For us, though, I didn't have any issues, honestly.
I was flawless. And for me, the beauty in that park itself, you could rip out every single ride and I would still be mesmerized. Like-
for sure.
Like, just walking through the Kronos into Celestial Park, my jaw dropped. Like, you don't get that same feeling. Like it's, I'm not knocking Disney, I'm not knocking the other Universal parks, but like it's something like when you walk into Animal Kingdom, the best feeling I can describe it to is when you come around the bend, and you see the Tree of Life for the first time.
For sure. Yep.
But
or
like,
Cinderella's Castle, like one of those moments.
or imagine you walk into Epcot and the ball's not there, and all you see is a vast open world showcase.
Yeah, or you walk into Disneyland, you see that tiny thing. I'm joking. Sorry, Disneyland people.
Like, it's just it not having an obstructed view in the middle of the park really
Yes.
really helps that awe-inspiring moment.
Yep, absolutely.
But don't get me wrong, I love my icons.
No,
But
for
it's just,
sure.
It's
for
just
sure.
that mesmerizing feeling, like you're in like a whole new world. Is really what it feels like.
And I think you just knocked that saying out of the park, because you literally feel like you're in a new world every time you go through one of those portals. Like,
I was skeptical at first about like the portals. I was like,
Mhm.
oh, this is kind of stupid. We're gonna walk through a portal. I'm proud to say that I was completely wrong.
Yep.
You walk through that portal, and it really does feel like you're being transported through.
I absolutely did.
Like,
because you can't see, you can't hear
Mm-mm.
anything from the outside. Like, it literally immerses you when you first walk. It doesn't matter which one you go into. Like, it's
Mm-mm.
literally, as soon as you walk in, it's like, wow. it's crazy.
I think my favorite entrance has to be Ministry of Magic, like the land itself. Just the scale of what they did is insane. Those buildings are massive, or at least they appear massive. I'm sure they use forced perspective, but I mean
Sure.
they're like towering over you. So if any park did Paris correct, it's Universal.
No, I agree. And here's where I'm going to get a little heat on this, because for me, I don't think Ministry of Magic is the highest on my list for Epic. The reason behind it, I'm going to get a lot of heat for this, because I think I understand Harry Potter, I understand Fantastic Beasts, but I think they're selling it too much on the name. And
Yeah.
I get no feel that I'm in any of those kind of worlds. If in my opinion,
You mean like the outer part itself?
correct.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, I don't feel like the ride Ministry, best thing I've ever walked into in my life.
They brought
the
that
Paris
movie-
of it.
yeah.
I feel like I'm in Paris, like 100%. Like,
That's
they
a
knocked
great way
that
to put
out
it.
of the park. But to say it's a Harry Potter, like, to me, I just feel like if that's your first experience with Harry Potter as a person coming to Universal, I think it's going to let people down, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can see that, because it's definitely got that different feel than walking to Diagon
For
Alley
sure.
or
Yep.
walking through Hogsmeade. However, I do think like that if they bring more of the streetmosphere, like, 'cause they have it
For
but
sure, absolutely.
if they raise up the bar, I think that I think that it'll be more immersive. Obviously, they
Absolutely.
have the little hidden details and whatnot,
Well, for sure, of
but
course.
I do think like it's not up in your face.
Sure. And
So
I
I
get that.
do get what you're saying,
And I think that was the whole point of it. Like, I think
Yeah.
it's supposed to be.
especially if it's someone's first time. Like it's their very first expression. Like they're gonna be awe inspired. Like they're gonna be like, "Oh my gosh!" Like I'm in Paris, but they're probably not gonna be like, "Oh my gosh, I'm in Harry Potter."
Exactly. They're going to be like, this. So what's all the hype about Harry Potter? You know, like.
But when they manage to snag that virtual queue and walk through the flue,
Let me tell you something.
their jaw is gonna hit the floor like a kettlebell. Like
And including us Disney peeps, I didn't think it was going to top it. Rise of Resistance doesn't even come close to it.
no, like the ride. Not we're not talking about the rides right now. We're talking about the
Not
queue.
talking about the queue.
The queue itself is mind blowing. Like I really feel like I stepped through the flue into the real Ministry
You
of
got
Magic.
it. Yep.
Like there's no ifs, whats, or buts. Like I walked into Harry Potter. Like I'm there.
Absolutely. 100%. More than 100% on that one. They killed it.
Like the ride was fun. It's in my top 5 for
Yeah.
the park itself.
Yep.
But I definitely think the queue is really what sets that ride apart.
Absolutely. Because like for me, if you take the queue out and you just left the ride,
It's a little lackluster.
I'd probably skip it.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Like, I don't get me wrong. I think the animatronics are really cool inside of it. Like what they did with it. It's hard to tell what screen is and what's not. But if you're talking rides, it's hard to put it because if I'm putting do you get what I'm saying? Like
yes, because that's how I rate it. Like when Noah didn't like the ride, but I wasn't basing it off the ride itself.
Yes,
I'm basing it off the queue and
whole
everything,
setup.
the whole experience together.
Yep. And for me personally, what wins is Monsters Unchained.
Monsters Unchained is my number 1 ride in that park.
That's my number 1 ride right now of all parks.
I think I could agree with that.
For dark rides. Now, I wouldn't say dark rides, but not like coasters or things like that. Like, I set those aside.
I know
like,
what you mean.
That style of ride, freaking real.
It's definitely
Unreal.
10 times better than Forbidden Journey.
They took everything that ride got right and made it 10 times better.
Mm-hmm. And fixed everything that it got wrong.
Wrong, exactly. It's on. Like every time I looked around that, I was like, "Whoa!" Like you have to ride it numerous times just to be able to get like.
There were times when I was like, "Whoa, whoa,
Mhm.
whoa!" Like.
Yep, even the queue. But even the queue is like.
I will say Universal did a very good job theming some of these queues.
Yes. Yep.
You have the normal like Hiccup Wind Gliders. It's like the normal like queue, kind of like Jurassic Park River Adventure. Like it's themed, but it's themed, not like
it's a line. You know, like.
But Monsters Unchained, like Dark Universe as a whole, blew me away.
Yep, me too.
I mean, I was excited for that, but I was like, this isn't going to be like a cool land. Like, you got to really like this stuff to like it, but you could go in there never seeing any of the Universal monsters.
For sure, and be like, whoa.
Be obsessed with the land.
Yep, absolutely.
The way they have the Invisible Man, they have Igor, they have Bride of Frankenstein, like, and like the violinist, the atmosphere that they created inside which is, I want to say, the smallest footprint.
I would say probably the smallest.
They as for right now, before they expand it, I really think they did a fantastic job. My only complaint, which is not really a complaint, more of a nitpicky, I do think that Curse of the Werewolf had more higher expectations for.
I didn't go on that. Didn't get on it.
So I was a little let down with that one. But it was still fun. I just my expectations were a little too high.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of like a little bit better version of Primeval Whirl.
Yeah, it's a boomerang coaster. It was because originally that was supposed to be like a stadium. I believe there was supposed to be a show or something there.
Yes. Yep.
And then they added another ride.
But they are expanding, I think.
Yes, Creature of the Black Lagoon is the rumor.
Gotcha. Okay. I think they probably would toe in the water to see how it would react with people.
Yeah.
Because will it be too scary for people or like?
Oh, I thought it was fun, but the ride's just short.
Yeah, for sure.
And not as like themed as I thought it would be. But I did love the Burning Blade.
So cool.
Just like the way that worked blew my mind. And I just think that the engineering that went into that is insane. because in my mind I'm like they must have used like barbecue grill, like like when you're lighting a propane grill.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
you have the gas coming out. So I feel like that's what they did. Like they have the gas coming out on like gas grill burners, and then they light them.
That's probably exactly how they do it.
And that's why some of them don't light, because if you have a grill, you know that sometimes they don't light, and you're like screaming at it.
Kicking it.
But the food was pretty good in Dark Universe 2.
Actually didn't have much of the food, I'll be honest. It was a hot day.
Did you try the garlic steak at least?
I did not. Nope.
No, man. You got to get that next time. Some of the food at Das Steakhouse I've heard is not that good, but I love the chicken wings. And I know some people's wings look completely different from my chicken wings, but the ones I got, like, I'm so glad I went on the first preview day before all the issues started.
They were at their best.
They were, yes. And you know why I think that is? And it's the same theory I have with Disney and the festivals. The first weekend or two, the food is
impress.
It's to impress because they know all the influencers are coming.
Yep.
They know the media is coming, so they want it to be top notch. And on the first day of previews, they had their own media there. They were filming parts of that documentary that's going to be on Peacock, I believe.
Yep. Yes, it is.
They had their social media team taking videos, so they wanted everything to be top notch.
Makes sense.
So that's my theory why everything was better the first few preview days.
Which makes me think probably too May 22nd will also be a flawless day.
Which I agree. That's why I keep people like I know a lot of people are saying they don't think Universal is going to be ready, but I do think it's going to be ready. I do think like the 6-day closure of Ministry of Magic, I think, is to make sure they're ready. Because imagine that they didn't close Ministry of Magic through these previews and had 2 days.
Yeah,
2 days to prepare the ride.
Nope.
Now they're going to have 6 plus 2.
Yep, exactly.
So they have plenty of time to put the finishing touches on things. I will say I'm a little worried about the downtimes.
Yes, because it does seem to go down a lot.
And I think I do have a theory on Donkey Kong, because I know that's one of the rides that has been going down the most.
Yes. Yep.
That ride was designed for Japan, not for Florida summer, not for Florida heat.
That's a fair point.
So I feel like it's got something to do with it's just not, the systems aren't equipped for it.
I thought you were going to say something about the size of the American people. Like myself.
I'm a bigger guy, and I fit perfectly fine. I fit on every single ride in Epic Universe.
Yes, I did too. I was a little snug on Stardust Racer, but I made it.
And I got a little extra, even though I got a perfect green light, like with room to spare on the test seat, he still gave me a little nudge, and I was like, "Thank you, sir. I do not want to come flying out of my seat on Stardust Racers."
I was ballsy and didn't even try the test seat. I just went.
Yeah.
And like I cracked it in, and then the guy came up to me. He was like, "Can you go in for one more?" I was like, "If we do what you got to do," and he came in and he shoved it in. He was like, will you be okay for 3 minutes? I'm like, even if I wasn't, I'm not leaving.
Nope. I kid you not. I was so happy that I got that extra push, because I was out of my seat 99% of the time on that ride. 99% of my time was spent flying out of my seat. You have me going, yeah, this is awesome. And then you have Noah going, Noah, we had 2 completely different reactions to the ride. Because for those of you that don't know, I mean, if you're here from the beginning, you know I wasn't a big coaster guy. I like coasters. I think they're really cool, but I was a coaster wimp. I got a Stardust, and I was like, Noah, let's go again. And Noah's like, no.
See, if you like you gotta get on Velocicoaster.
That's next.
And in my opinion, the reason why I have Stardust Racer tied with Velocicoaster is I think Velocicoaster is a little bit more intense, but how they made Stardust Racers, like the racing of the two, seeing each other pass over each other, it's unreal.
Well, see, Stardust has less inversions, and that's what makes it a little less intense than Velocicoaster.
Yep.
I'll live.
Yep. It's like, let me tell you, when the best time I've ever had on a roller coaster is when you hit that water on Velocicoaster. Like when you get upside down.
The Mosasaurus roll.
Oh man, it's
the
unreal.
What I really liked about Stardust was actually I really liked the speed, and I actually did like that airtime feeling.
Yep.
I didn't really feel the drops or anything like that. It was more, it was
No,
just so
yep.
much fun.
Yep. I think the best part of the ride was memorizing, like I said, is the rolls over each other. So freaking cool how they did that.
The way the way you just can see the people on the green one is
Yep.
go flying over you was insane.
It's insane. Insane. And like seeing it at night too. Man. I
They
haven't got a chance to ride it at night yet. That's on the list because it's probably a different experience at night.
Yeah.
So
we did so our coaster was lit. It was just still a little bit bright out because
Gotcha.
it's Florida summer. So
yeah, it goes late.
Yeah. So we wanted to capitalize on that lower weight before like all the people ran to it to get the night experience. But it was still like it was like golden hour. It was perfect. I think night would be awesome though because you can't see anything.
Exactly. Yep.
What food did you try?
Let's see. I didn't have too much of I actually had more sweets more than anything. We tried a lot of the stuff in Isles of Burke, actually, like a lot of the whoopie pies and stuff like that. Those are actually really, really good from what we had. And then we actually had the ice cream in, was it Moon?
It's Frosty Moon.
Frosty Moon. There we go.
Yep.
Yep. And honestly, if I had, because I know everyone's been complaining about like how like pricey Epic has been with like the food and stuff like that. I feel like that was like the best bang for your buck, honestly, with the ice cream.
I want to address the prices that you bring that up. It's pricey, but and I was the first to complain. I was complaining an episode or two ago about $20 crepe.
Yep.
It's shareable crepe.
Oh, for sure. That's the next thing I got.
You got three. It's technically 3 crepes.
Yep.
They're not like the ones you get at Central Park.
No.
They're not with the cone. They're 3 separate crepes with the butterbeer filling and them, whipped cream on top, and the butterbeer drizzle. So me and Noah split it. So
yep.
I mean, really,
my wife and I did too.
It's $10 a person.
Yep, which is honestly cheaper than the ones in studios.
Yeah,
if you want to get technical.
Yeah,
and those aren't even as big.
Mm-mm.
They're deceiving because they're cones.
Right.
That's the only reason why they look as big as they are. You know.
It's like, and then speaking of cones, the mac and cheese cones are phenomenal.
I wanted it.
Was the line too long, or were they?
No, it was too hot. It was so hot.
You mean you don't want carbs on top of carbs on top of carbs?
Jeez. So yeah, it's so funny. Like because like when we go to the parks and stuff like that on a hot day, my wife is like, "You don't eat. You don't really drink." I'm like, I can't do it. I'm like, I'll survive. I'll be okay.
If I drink alcohol on a hot day and like I'm gonna be completely red.
Yep.
Like,
well, the last time I really ate something heavy on a hot Florida day, it was actually my birthday last year in Hollywood Studios, and I regretted full, and I should have listened to you. I got those damn churros in Hollywood Studios, the Coca-Cola ones.
I warned you.
I felt sick the rest of the day after eating those. I was like, what did I do? Oh no.
Listen, if it was just Coke churros, right? Okay, we can do that. You put the Chipotle mayonnaise on top and cheese. That's the problem.
Oh man.
Ugh. But yeah, it's mac and cheese. For those of you that don't know, it's mac and cheese stuffed into an fresh baked bread baguette, basically everything seasoning on it. And they have one with goldfish crackers, which are actually I was shocked at how like the crunch, it just worked. Then they have the PB&J, which is what was the P stand for? Bacon. I know it's bacon and jam.
Yeah.
I can't remember what the P is. Okay, anyway, I don't know. I don't remember what the P was for.
People thought we just froze.
But yeah, it's bacon and jam, and then they have the Dragon's Breath, which is the spicy chicken with chimichurri. That was my favorite.
Yep, gotcha.
I would be satisfied if I ate that for every day for the rest of my life. It was worth the hype.
That's next huge on my list to go get.
I had
next time I go.
Pizza Moon. Now, Pizza Moon is very good pizza. I made a bad decision, and I got the one with pineapple on it, which it wasn't bad, but I just didn't like. I'm not a pineapple on pizza person. I thought it would be cool to try something.
I was just about to say, Josh. I was like, pineapple does not. For all you viewers that think otherwise,
but the pizza itself was the best pizza I've had in a theme park. Pineapple or not.
I wanted to try it so bad. So we were going to. We get it. So first off, it was like, I want to say it was like 8:30. I think it was like a half hour before closing. Everyone knows I have 2 kids on 2 years and under. They're like at their wits' point. So we go up to the thing. They're in their carriages. super nice guy at the front. He was like, hey, he's like, listen, he was like, because they're awake in their carriage, he goes, I can't let you in with the carriages. And I was like, what do you mean? I'm like, there's nobody in there. He was like, I know. He was like, but we can't let you in there with the carriages. I was like, but you see how they're acting. I'm like, they're not gonna survive. He was like looking around. He was like, tell you what. He was like, I might get in trouble for this, but go through. And I'm like, listen, man, if they come and question me, I'll just say I blew past you. I didn't even listen to you. All right. So we went in there. We sat down. We started looking at the menu to order, and then they both just like crashed out. I'm like, all right, we got to go.
Yep. I will say it was $17.99 for the pizza. It does look like, if I'm looking up the menus correctly, they raised it to $18.99. But you get pretty decent servings of pizza, so you could split it 2-3 ways, and it would be like it's not you if you're solo, it's going to be a pricey day. If you're with people, the food is actually reasonable. Like even the chicken wings were like $17, but me and Noah split them. It was two
Oh, wow.
like full size chicken wings, like the
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's not
Yep.
like you got like a drum and a flat. You got two things. So you got two drums, two flats, cornbread and coleslaw.
Gotcha.
We both
Okay.
split it, and at least our chicken wings had it like they were huge. They had a ton of meat on them, so it was worth it. And then I only tried a few things because I was balling on a budget. But I mean, I'll be trying more. But I was impressed with the food at Epic Universe.
Yeah. No, which is the going consensus. I haven't like very rare where I've heard people say like, "Oh, this is nasty." I'm like,
The grossest
okay.
thing I had, which is funny, was a chocolate chip cookie from Frosty Moon.
Oh, really?
And it's not that it was gross; it just didn't taste like a cookie. Like it wasn't sweet enough, and it had too much salt.
Gotcha. Okay.
Which like I'm not a salt on a cookie person. That's why
Sure.
I'm not a giant fan of Gideon's.
Yep.
But it just I think like they swapped sugar for salt in this cookie because it was
They forgot.
very,
They like. Sorry, oops, my bad.
So that was the only thing like that I wasn't a fan of. But everything else I enjoyed. Nothing was bad. I will say that I really do think that they stepped up the food. Like if you compare Epic Universe food to Universal 2 parks, Epic Universe blows it out of the water.
Oh, for sure. Yep.
So I hope that they bring those concepts over to
hopefully we will
to the original parks.
We will see. But a huge shout out to Epic, where I've been saying this for a long time now, is they actually built an actual baby care center for families.
Oh yes, they did.
There's an actual one in there now, not like where at the parks now you have to go to like the first aid and they give you like a random room and things like that. But like they actually have an actual room with bottle warmers. They have ice machines in there. They got everything. They got private rooms for those who are feeding, changing rooms, bathrooms for the family. Kudos to you for finally listening.
Yeah, I think that they really did like took things from other parks to really set it up for success.
Yes, I agree.
You know, they had a proper way to do everything. What else was I going to say that was impressive? Oh, the lockers.
I didn't get so we used Child Swap, and they had the old style lockers inside the rooms. Like like for example, like Stardust Racers, they had the typical scan your card and like that. But like I've heard they had like the facial recognitions for a lot of them.
Not just the facial recognition, because like you can skip it. Like for everyone out there that's like, oh, you know, they you can hit bypass and you just scan your pass like normal. But the biggest thing for me was that the free lockers are bigger now.
Yes,
no more having to
too.
like shove my crap inside the small locker. Like I fit my backpack, which y'all know has tons of camera equipment, tons of batteries, packs. Like it's big, and it fit in there. My hat fit in there, and so did everything that was in my pockets. And then you pick your stuff up on the opposite side. So there's no more going into that same crowded room where everyone's trying to put their stuff in to get your stuff out. They took the Tron concept and did it better.
Yep. Just about to say that.
So I was very impressed how like they really tried to make it a seamless experience.
Yes, absolutely. I will say the one area I'm a little, I wouldn't say nervous about, but I think they're going to have special attention to is the lack of shade in the summer in Florida.
And I was just going to bring that up.
It's rough.
It is rough. I mean, me and Noah burnt our faces because we were taking pictures, but like
Yeah.
when we look up into the sky, or we like Noah looked into the
Exactly.
sun for 1 second and he turned around and his face was beet red. Now there is some shady spots.
There's a little bit in some
but it's
places,
not enough.
but
like it, and I think temporarily they should add some canopies and stuff,
absolutely,
because obviously the problem is it's a brand new park. The foliage is brand new.
Yep.
Eventually, I'm sure.
Eventually,
Eventually, those trees are going to get tall.
Yeah.
It's going to fill in more like Islands of Adventure and Studios, and the shade will get better. But right now, it's brutal.
Drink your water, people.
Drink your water and bring your sunscreen.
Yep. I already know people are going to pass out this summer there. Like it's going to be a problem.
Yeah. Because I can't tell you how many times I see people just not drinking anything.
Yep. Well, it's kind of funny too, because like when you're in Celestial Park, where the water fountain is, where you can like sit to watch the water show. I love
that spot.
I was seeing people like laying down on the grass, hiding from the sun, in like the small shade they could find, because they were like sunburnt from like by all means. And I'm like if you're like scrounging to find shade, that's an issue.
Yeah, I do think and I'm hoping that when they close the park, they'll add some of those like canopies where you just temporarily canopies and stuff. Because at least like there are people that need refuge. There are people who can't be in the sun too long.
Yep.
So I do hope that they listen to that feedback, which Universal is very good
with
about feedback.
Yeah, they for sure are.
So I do hope that they take the time to do that when the park closes for the 2 or 3 days before it opens,
or even add like misters.
Yeah,
like
more
like
fans,
kind of like more fans and stuff like that. Like that might be a little bit more helpful than having like eyesores of like canopies and stuff like that. So who knows what I think they'll have to do something. But I was like, but they were geniuses though how they did it though, because the only shade that you get is either A, waiting in a queue for a line, or B, where you're spending money. Genius.
This is true.
Genius.
This is very true.
Genius move, Universal.
They're like, the first few years while the trees grow. But I do think we should address, there's been some rough days during these previews.
Sure.
I'm sure we'll get called out for all sunshine and rainbows. Personally, I think that it'll be ready to go.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope so, because we were kind of talking off camera before this, and like I completely 100% understand like it's still technical rehearsals and things like that, but seeing people sitting in line for 3-4 hours before they make the decision to close the line, that's a bit much.
That I do think that there should be more communication, because if I have 12, 11 hours in the park, and 3 of those are spent assuming that the ride's going to open back up, and then 3 hours later you say the ride's not going to open back up, I'm not going to be a happy camper.
No, nope.
Because I could have spent 3 hours in another line.
Like when I went, we were one of the lucky ones to snag a reservation for the Battle of Ministry. And again, we had our 2 young ones with us when we went. And when we got into the queue, it kept going up and down, like would go down again. I think we maybe sat about an hour and 20 in line, I want to say. But what grinded my gears in regards to it is, and like again, I understand technical rehearsals and things like that. People could have been training, and this is no flaw to the team members or things like that, because they were extremely nice and things like that. However, when I did get up to the front of the line, they seemed like they had a counting issue of like they didn't know what they were doing. Because my ride vehicle, when I got on it, there was 4 of us in it with a line that's an hour and a half long.
I see what you mean.
There was 4 people on my ride vehicle, and they didn't really seem to know how to operate it, because we literally all had to unbuckle and sit down and sit and stand up 4 different times before they could run the vehicle. So I'm like,
okay, yeah, I think that I understand where you're coming from, because like on my day they weren't filling it out, but I wonder if it's a problem with the ride vehicle itself.
Could be.
I wonder if it's like sensors, and like some of the sensors, like if there's too many people or something, it's causing the sensors to go awry and making the ride go down.
Yeah, I wonder, because I know one of the team members when we were doing it, because like I said, they were super nice. Like they were like very apologetic, and like, and they were kind of joking about it, like because like by like the 3rd time where we had to stand up and sit down again, they were like, "We swear we're gonna get you on your way soon, one more time for us." And they kind of explained to us the sensors on the seats, because they were saying that there's there's a sensor for the seatbelt, and then there's sensors by your feet. And they said that people who either lift up their feet or before the ride goes, it trips the sensor and you have to start over again. So they're saying it's very sensitive, and I think that's what they might be working on, is the sensitivity of the sensors. Because like literally, if you move like the wrong way before the ride starts to go, it's like a kill switch. It just stops the whole thing, and you have to reset everything. So I'm like,
that's crazy,
man. I was like, that's crazy. And then like they finally got us ready to go, and then like they got like a radio call saying like, wait, we're gonna have to get them off again. And then they would finally like let us go onto the ride, and I was like, "Oh, thank you."
I will say the feelings that you get, like the way they simulate those feelings on that ride, are really cool. I'm not going to spoil it.
Sure,
like, I don't want to spoil it, but the way the movements of the ride, it's pretty cool.
No, it definitely is for sure.
But I will say, I think we've covered a pretty good amount. Our fearless friend Katie couldn't join us today, but we'll get her thoughts on a little video and we'll post it on the social medias for you.
Yes.
But it's time for final thoughts.
Yes.
And I have a good one. What's one thing you would change about Epic Universe?
Oh, that's an easy one, the shade.
And I was going to say shade.
Yeah,
too.
I was going to say shade. However, if I'm talking like actual, I would probably have to say the process to get into the park.
Really?
The reason why I say that is I've been seeing a lot of complaints, and we were lucky enough we didn't experience this because we got there early enough. But the line went forever to get in.
Because I was in the beginning of the line. Like I was.
Yep.
I lined up very early.
And I think they need to figure out a way with how they're doing early park admissions too, because the lines are getting crazy for those, and a little confusing for folks on that. But again, once they fully open, they get like the momentum going. I think it's going to work out. But I can see people's point, because like some people said it took almost 2 hours to get into the parks one day.
Yeah, that's a lot.
And like that's like, I understand that like, oh, you should be getting to the parks early, but if they open at 9, I should expect to get in at 9. You know what I'm saying? So like I'm paying to be there, so like I shouldn't have to wait in a 2-hour line, and there goes 2 hours of my day in the park.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
That makes sense.
So like
they
need to work out the kinks there, and I think they could have made security a little bit bigger. Because I think that's the issue. I was
surprised by that. I was surprised that the side. I was like, "Oh wow!"
I'm very surprised they didn't adapt to Disney's ways, where they do like the machines that they have that Disney uses.
I hate those machines.
I hate them, but they flow people through.
That's true.
You know, they have like Universal for some reason. They love like the old school like TSA, like put it on the belt and walk through and stuff like that. So like, which I think kind of slows it down a little bit from that point there. Essentially, but being a brand new park, I'm surprised they didn't adapt to a new system.
Yeah,
but I see why they didn't, because
they could still come.
They still can, and I think the reason why they didn't is because if they adapted to a new system, they'd probably have to retrain their whole force of security, because they'd have to adapt it on the other parks too.
I think that if we see that change, it's going to come to the main hub first.
Yes,
it'll be tested at the main hub. They'll have a couple lanes, and then eventually they would go through it all
for sure. But I think that's the only thing. Again, it didn't impact me just because I got there early enough, and it took me 10 minutes to get in. Like it wasn't a big deal or anything like that. Yeah. But
I think for me, the biggest change not big, but change, or like saying I would add more lockers.
Yes,
to some of the rides. I feel like there's not enough rides at Stardust, especially when it gets super busy.
I was gonna say that's a good point, because I know like the line would go, then stop for forever because there's no lockers open for people.
Right. So I think that's probably one of my biggest things besides shade would be the lockers. But I would say that this park is very exciting.
Absolutely.
And you should all be very excited to see it. It is a game changer, despite what the diehard Disney crowd is saying.
Yep. Well,
this park,
and it's safe to say that like if the biggest thing we say we change is shade
and lockers,
that's it. That's telling something right there. Like that's, again, like you just said, I think that diehard Disney fans are trying to find a reason to exit out.
Yeah.
Me personally, don't listen to it, because the hype is there. Honestly.
The hype is there. The hype is real, and it's 100% worth it. But you can find me on all social media platforms at Josh in the Parks.
You can find me at It's a Buzz Life.
And you can find the podcast on all your favorite social media platforms and podcast platforms at InTheParks_pod. So put your hands up, because your lap bars are coming up.